Hi everybody, it's John Harris, Channel Manager. Thanks for joining today's session. It's one of the first live events that we're holding for our channel partners. And we thought it was relevant to today's environment to talk to you about the contact centre as a service applications that we run here at Wavenet. Johnathan Zemlik is our head of contact centre solutions. He's very experienced in this field. And since the current climate, we've seen a large increase of customers needing contact centre as a solution, as a service, and we thought it would be relevant to bring this to you, to educate you, and to hopefully uncover some opportunities that you can work with us in this marketplace. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand across to Johnathan Zemlik to present today for you, and there's a question panel which you can post your questions to, and hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much for that introduction, John. Real pleasure to be here today. So in my role of Head of Contact Centre Solutions, I am here to help you not only sell more contact centre technology, but also to optimise that technology to deliver tangible benefits to your customers. I will be happy to help you identify contact centre opportunities, confidently talk about customer engagement, underwrite technical solutions or CRM integrations, provide joint bid and support for partners, run live demonstrations of our platforms, get you winning commercials, and most importantly, help you sell more contact centre solutions. Now, I think a quick overview of my experience will potentially be quite good for you all. So I've been in a role at Wavenet for just shy of a year now, where I've helped transform the portfolio to bring it up to the enterprise standard, working with a range of leading CP and cloud-first contact centre providers, as well as bringing in value-add services needed for customer service, such as workforce management and optimization, or PCI DSS compliant payments. But I actually started out in a contact centre. After I completed university, I had no idea what I wanted to do in life, but I knew I needed to keep my CV going. So I actually started volunteering for an NGO called Yorkshire Mesmac. While I was there, I took a conventional outreach model based on actually going into certain settings and doing face-to-face outreach. And we decided that we'd take it in a digital direction. So using not just traditional voice, but also things like email, web chat, Facebook, Twitter, and a number of other social media apps to help the particular charity fulfill its obligations to the local council. Now, local government will notice when you're not doing well, but it also notices when you are doing particularly well. And we actually ended up getting entered into an award for Public Health England for one of the best innovations in outreach in our field. From there, I joined Content Guru, an enterprise cloud contact as a service vendor and Gartner Magic Quadrant leader for Western Europe, where I started out as a business development manager, selling bids not only directly, such as Screwfix to 200 agents in Yeovil for email and web chat, but also directly, also through channel as well, through partners at Vodafone. I then showed some technical understanding of the particular solution, so I went into solutions consultancy for a number of years before moving into marketing to become head of UK vertical and partner marketing, working with a range of industry leading associations such as the CCMA and the UK Contact Centre Forum. That's when I came to Wavenet, but in my spare time I've also helped judge contact centre awards for the likes of Core North West and South West Contact Centre Forum, last year helping on the panel for Best Customer Services Team of the Year. And so today I'm going to be giving you an overview of how to improve contact centre solution sales. As you know, Wavenet is a next generation systems integrator. We have a heritage in carrier solutions, particularly network. But as we have evolved, we realise that now it's not only the network that you sell, it's actually the services that run over that network. Traditionally, this has been focused on UC propositions, things like our Teams Link product or WHV portfolio. But increasingly, we've seen a demand for cloud-based contact centre, where we've made real headways in the past couple of years with big clients such as Northwest Ambulance Service and also the likes of Ian Williams too. We also provide security and compliance, and particularly when it comes to contact centre, they're often at specific needs around things like ISO 27001 and PCI DSS compliance, but we can support you and your customers with. But fundamentally, Wavenet is an engineering company, and our team of over 70 trained engineers can not only help you optimize their technology, but integrate it into your client's existing systems. We work with a number of industry-leading vendors such as Five9, Content Guru, Calabrio, Cisco, and Mitel in the contact center space. And what we're here to achieve today is to make sure by the end of this session, you should understand the benefits of selling a contact center solution, the size of opportunity in the UK market, why customer services matter and why you can justify a premium price point, the key stakeholders within the contact center and their KPIs, the top 10 contact center problems through which you can frame your conversations, and then a little bit about Wavenet's portfolio and CRM integrated cloud contact center as a service and unified desktop contact center as a service. Finally, followed by how to engage with your customers. Then there'll be a questions and answer session, but I'll be pausing throughout the presentation just to see if you've got any questions. So the first thing that you must be thinking, why sell a contact center as a service solution? Well, contact center solutions are high margin and high profit. Particularly at the moment, due to the impact of COVID-19, many contact centres have had an urgent need for home working. Many are ditching traditional CPE-based vendors, such as Avaya and Cisco, to support agents to work more flexibly from home in a born-in-the-cloud solution. Now, the average contact centre, according to Contact Babel within the UK, averages out at about 125 agents. The price point for a license within the market is £80 to £150 based on what functionalities a contact centre will require. Generally, our partners are making a 20% margin on the end price So if a total contract value averages out about £400,000 for 125 agents around the £80 mark, in terms of the cash that you will receive, you'll be looking at £80,000 per deal, which can help your business take the next step. Contact centre agents have actually the highest technology spend per head for workers in the UK communications industry. And these high rates of MMR and professional services make them incredibly lucrative for our sales partners. So let's look at the UK market in a bit more detail. The UK has over 6,175 contact centres, employing 772,500 agents, figures taken from Contact Babel's UK Inner Circle Guide to Cloud Contact Centre 2019. And across the UK, there are certain hotspots. I personally am based in Wakefield in West Yorkshire, which gives me very useful access to the golden vein across the UK, which is the M62 corridor, starting with a number of large contact centres in Hull, including a number of outsourcers, through to Leeds and Bradford, where you have the likes of some of the larger supermarket contact centres, so Asda in Leeds, Morrison's in Bradford. That goes down on a tangent down to the M1, where you have big contact centres in Sheffield, such as the Environment Agency's contact centres in Rotherham and Sheffield, but also large outsourcers such as G4S and WebHelp as well, with a large estate in Sheffield. Going further across, you get into Oldham, where you have some bit large financial services contact centres, and then through to Manchester, where you've got large contact centre estates, the likes of HGF as well, and then across to Liverpool, where you've got people like Serco. So something like 20% of the UK's contact centres are based across the M62. You then have the Southwest Hub, which extends down from Bristol, and then up and along the M4 continually into Cardiff and Swansea. You've got the Birmingham hub as well in the Midlands, so large contact centres for likes of the RAC over in Birmingham too. Then you've got Newcastle, Glasgow, and finally London. Now, London actually has seen a large reduction in the number of contact centres over the past 10 years. It's actually gone down by about half, and we see the high price of property there pushing people out to places like Guildford, Swindon, and also to Reading as well. And again, the contact centre market in the UK is very, very well developed. It supports about $21 billion of investment per year. In fact, 1 in every 25 jobs in the UK is within the contact centre industry. And that's because the average adult spends 17 hours a year speaking to people in call centres. And surprisingly, 70% of people are satisfied or very satisfied with the quality of customer service they receive from contact centres. However, the global market is estimated at around $200 billion. And according to DMG Consulting, cloud penetration has just made up around 2% of this, 2.8 billion. So if we transfix those figures over to the UK, if we have 21 billion, we've barely made a $1 billion mark into the UK cloud opportunity there. So again, it's a very good time to be talking to your customers about moving away from traditional CP-based contact center solutions to a born in the cloud solution. So why will people pay this premium price point? Well, that's because customer service is incredibly important. I've got a couple of statistics I've got for you here, but I want you to think as we're reading from what these tell us about what good customer service should look like. 55% of customers admit they would gladly pay more for a better customer experience. 89% of customers have stopped doing business with a company after experiencing a poor customer experience. 94% of customers who have a low effort service will buy from that same company again. 92% of organisations that view customer experience as a differentiator offer multiple contact channels. 50% of customers admit they will usually share with friends and family a negative experience with a brand or retailer while purchasing. 54% of customers shared a bad experience with more than 5 people, whereas only 33% shared a good experience with more than 5 people. A 2% increase in customer retention has the same effect as decreasing costs by 10%. It is 6 to 7 times more costly to attract a new customer than it is to retain an existing one. 64% of people think that UK customer experience is more important than price when choosing a brand. And by 2025, customer experience will overtake price and product as the key brand differentiator. Now, all of these statistics are incredibly useful to play back to your prospects, but I see things differently. What I see this telling me is that customer experience needs to be low effort. It needs to be offered over multiple contact channels. And that's because customer retention is the actual key outcome that a contact center is there to provide. It's there to encourage brand loyalty. And that's because actually, if you have a good record in customer service, it will make it easier to attract new customers, as you can take that forward into your marketing. And that's why customer experience is more important than price. When you call into a contact center, according to the scientific evidence for customer lifecycle management, or rather the management theory in business, there are only 2 real outcomes. You will have a good customer experience, and that will engender a feeling of loyalty, that a business cares about you, and therefore they will retain your custom. Or you have a bad customer experience. That will make you more open to switching providers and has a higher risk of churn for you as a consumer to that business. So, what does a contact center actually do? So this is a picture of one of the contact centers that I've had the privilege to visit. You'll see actually now they're much more open plan than they used to be. So you'll have agents working in teams in a mix of channels, perhaps 3 or 4 people on phones, other people handling web chat. It's a lot more open plan. A lot of effort is going into actually the look and feel of the physical space to make these nice places to work for agents, compared to the traditional pods that we used to associate with contact centres back in the late 90s and early noughties. We can see we have a wallboard at the back, which is giving us management information, but also these days further digital signage to make sure we're motivating agents with features like gamification. However, in the age of COVID-19, most contact centres like this can only actually afford to have 25 to 50% of their agents working in the office and to be in keeping with the COVID safe environment. And that's a big problem. What's it like working in a contact centre? Well, I've just got a very quick clip for you to play. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
Good evening. Are you aware there's an award-winning call centre in Swansea?
Are we all happy? Mr. Brightside, the Killers, C#.
Are you aware now that it's all free of charge for you to have your loft and your cavity walls insulated to the new standards?
I'm calling in regards to your property. Nobody likes my voice, nobody likes my voice.
There's winners and there's losers, and that's it.
You can sometimes have banter with him. abuse you, he's like it with everyone, that's just Nev, you know?
The yawn at the back! Get down! Absolutely love it.
The Call Centre on BBC Three.
So, a little bit of homework you might want to undertake is to watch the Call Centre from BBC Three. That will give you a very realistic view of what it's actually like working in a contact centre. And for the most part, they're incredibly fun and productive environments staffed by very hard-working and dedicated agents. However, some aren't like that. Some are still particularly difficult. And I know from my experience judging contact centre, you can tell a lot about what a particular company is like merely by stepping on the floor and seeing how the actual vibe of people are. If they're happy, if they're chatty and they're working efficiently, that implies that they've got a pretty good style of management and probably the tools that they need to do their job. However, if you walk in and people seem stressed and demotivated, that's telling you that they've got a number of problems that our technologies might be able to support them to fix. In terms of services handled, contact centres are primarily focused on providing customer service, customer retention, sales, collections, quality monitoring, compliance, social media monitoring, customer lifecycle management, emergency alert and network alarm monitoring. However, the key outcome, as I said before, is to engender loyalty. So when you phone through to customer services, do they know who you are? Can they help you on the first contact? Does it take a lot of time to get information? If it's customer retentions and I'm looking to say renew my insurance quote, are agents empowered to be able to offer me something to ensure that I stay with that particular provider? It might be an outbound dialer to support customer sales. If so, do they understand who I am as a consumer and what my motivations are to build a meaningful relationship in order to sell to me? If we're looking at collections, so perhaps for a housing association where they need to get in contact with people to get their rents from universal credit payments, am I able to take a payment over the phone? Quality monitoring, am I being compliant? Have I read my correct statement? Do I have to read it every time, or can I play a pre-recorded voice prompt to make sure that actually my agents don't have to say that every time? Social media monitoring, huge subject. One of the most interesting things about contact centres at the moment is the demographic breakdown of channels by the agents who are particularly strong at them. So traditionally we find older agents working on voice particularly well, whereas young people who might be really shy on the phones are fantastic when you put them on Twitter, on Facebook, or on a web chat. What media are handled? Well, the majority of UK contact centre traffic remains phone, with 70% of inquiries based around traditional voice. We've seen a huge increase in email though. And then even though we have seen a large increase in email, it's quite an unpopular channel in terms of it often provides quite slow response times. We often see people emailing in the first instance, then escalating to a phone call. SMS is very important, particularly for service users who might not be able to access voice services, for discrete services, or also even if you just prefer using SMS. Social media channels, again, incredibly important and growing factor. So this falls into brand recognition. If you are constantly being lampooned for your customer service on social media, that has a wider impact on your company. It's something that the chief marketing officer might actually be coming in and giving a contact center manager a bit of grief for. So how do you effectively manage social media? Instant messaging and web chat. So the differentiation I make there is a web chat is on your website, on the front page of your business. IM would be perhaps from an app, perhaps. Video, again, a channel that is sometimes used but never really took off. But you know, it's something that you might need to consider, particularly for things like NHS, where you might be wanting to do those video consultations, which have become fairly par of the course during a pandemic. Right back to traditional channels, so something like fax can still be important, particularly in industries like hospitality, and even post or white mail. So a very interesting case study I heard was of a private insurer for healthcare, and essentially in order to increase their retention, they actually employed 3 former teachers. All their job was to do was to respond to customer complaints with very nicely written letters, and due to the nature of their clientele, that channel worked very effectively for them. And actually they were able to increase by retention by something like 20%, just because the customer felt they had been listened to, because they had received a physical thing in the post, which was very well written and very well formatted. Also, automated channels. And actually, when we try and automate traffic, regardless of whether it's voice, email, SMS or otherwise, we need to think about it in a completely different way in order to make sure we're building robust contact processes which will actually deliver tangible benefits to the contact centre. So what does an agent actually do? Well, an agent will handle contacts via voice, SMS, email, social media or web chat. Generally, though, they won't do all of these at the same time. So a platform should be omni-channel and support a way to communicate for all channels, wherever the consumer is, whatever device they're on, and whenever they need to chat. But agents should be empowered to work on the channels that suit them best, generally a mix of 1 or 2, perhaps 3 if they're particularly skilled. The traditional metric for the agent has been average handle time. How fast do they actually get through a call? But actually now we're seeing a larger focus on quality, particularly metrics such as customer satisfaction, or more commonly used NPS, and first contact resolution. Did they get it right first time for the customer? First contact resolution is an excellent metric to talk to your customers about. It's not only a consumer facing metric, did we provide something to the customer quickly first time? It's also a metric for judging agents by. So it actually allows us to tell a lot about the efficiency of our agents and if they're empowered to be able to do their job. And actually, when we're looking at the best solution, agents are often the most important for me, because how they work will inform me and you to what particular Wavenet contact centre platform will be best placed to support them. We then have contact centre supervisors. These will manage and coach an agent team of between 12 and 18 agents on average. They will handle team administration and they will liaise with wider teams across the contact centre. Sometimes they'll liaise, sometimes they'll do this directly. Things like quality management, training, workforce planning, and other elements of a contact centre solution, depending on its size. They're interested in all of their agent metrics and want to be able to benchmark the success of their team, plus things like the time to answer or the service level agreement on the queue. So the standard industry rate is generally about 80% of calls delivered in 20 seconds or less. Some companies, particularly outsourcers, will guarantee a better time, 90% in 10 seconds, or some will have compliance obligations to meet them. So the ability to report and monitor that SLA and the time to answer is really important. Some of their key challenges and some of the metrics they're judged on is agent attrition. How many agents actually stay in their business long term? The largest cost in an agent's life cycle is actually for training and getting them up to speed. So it's incredibly frustrating when agents leave. And sometimes we can use technology to give them a better work-life balance. Absenteeism, also traditionally very, very important. A lot of people sometimes just don't want to go to work. And making sure that we're empowering people to minimise absenteeism by making the contact centre a good place to work and a flexible place to work. And they want to understand their agent productivity. How much time are they spending on each channel? What are they spending their day doing? And actually how successful they've been. Maybe something like an outbound dialer contact centre to see how much money they've taken or how many customers have given them positive feedback. We then have the contact centre manager. They will manage the supervisors or team leaders, and they'll also liaise with other departments outside the contact centre, such as sales and marketing. So, for example, in a blended contact centre where there's a pool of outbound agents supporting customer sales, they'll be working with the sales director to ensure that they're informed about how much money that team is bringing in for the wider business. But also with marketing, where perhaps an award-winning contact centre will use that to be able to support their marketing material to highlight their key differentiator to their competitors. Now, they're interested in an aggregation of supervisor and team leader metrics, plus broader corporate performance, an overview of agent success and customer satisfaction across that whole business, seeing what that picture looks like, but also things like CSR, corporate social relations. So every year we have children in need, and the number of contact centres which are actually involved in that is huge, because on the night when you're phoning in to give your donations, if you're put through to someone, they'll actually be working from a contact centre. And they also support a number of things throughout the year. In fact, I was reading a couple of days ago that companies are 27% more likely to donate to causes to staff linked to their business, and generally you see contact centres really bringing that to the fore. So we've had our 3 primary stakeholders who will all encounter in the buying cycle, but there's a couple of other ones that we need to be aware of. The contact centre director or customer services director, they will set the strategic vision for what they want their customer service to look like. And generally this will focus on things like the input of data into that customer service journey, how customer journeys are mapped, and how they want to leave customers feeling throughout their journey and interactions within a business. They want to be focused on building meaningful relationships with the people who contact them. And equally, they want to make sure that that contact can be going both ways. Think about it. If you're only talking to someone when something's gone wrong, does that sound like a good relationship to you? Good question. We also have a number of other other teams that we need to be aware of, particularly if we're responding to ITT or RFP, which Wavenet will always be able to support you with. These can be people like the workforce planning team. They might require a new system such as Wavenet Calabria or Wavenet Virtual Observer. These can automate workforce planning and take a team of 10 planners down to 5 potentially. Training team, so it's essentially how quick can agents get up to speed on the new solution? Does it help empower them to improve their personalised development and deliver better outcomes for the training teams as well? External experts, you will always have consultants in the market. Understanding what their drivers are and how they help articulate the vision for customer service from a company can be really important, and a really important relationship in the sales cycle. Operations team who love detailed management information for data-led decision making, but also, and particularly with regards to Wavenet, how you actually triage front office calls into the back office. So can you transfer a call in perhaps the Teams link solution? Can you see status? How can you ensure that front and back office are joined up? Central in this as well is the IT team. They will want something which integrates harmoniously with their wider digital ecosystem. And then the quality team who want to review quality assurance processes to make sure that a contact centre remains compliant and at the highest levels of customer satisfaction. So every year, Call Centre Helper publishes the top 10 contact centre problems. And interestingly, things will go up and down this list, but it generally never changes. This is because contact centre issues are horizontal rather than vertical based. Certain verticals will have these problems in a higher priority than others, but generally these are 10 general contact centre problems that you can talk to your customers about in order to frame a conversation. Now, on first look, some of these might actually seem a bit abstract, but actually when we look at the kind of solution that we can offer, we can help. So agent absenteeism is a good example. One of the key reasons for agent absenteeism is the inability to change shift patterns on short notice. That's where something perhaps like Wavenet Calabria can be very useful, because agents can book and swap shifts from a smartphone application on their iPhone in bed instead of actually trying to take the day off work. Equally, home working is incredibly important. Even if you're feeling a bit ill, if you don't have to get on the bus and go to work or drive to work, it's going to be a lot easier to do their job. So if you can provide home working for agents with that better work-life balance, you will see rates of absenteeism drop by as much as 58%, according to the UK Contact Centre Forum. Staff attrition is another key issue. Generally, people leave contact centres for better prospects due to their flat structures. However, if you can offer people a better work-life balance, then they'll be more likely to stay with your business long term, and that will allow you to leverage their expertise in your business. Equally, another key reason people will leave is because they move. And actually, one contact centre that I visited in the past was Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And they moved to a home working model quite early on, and they were based in Sandhurst. And generally, they would have military wives working within the contact centre for generally 3 to 4 years. And their husbands would be moved on deployment, and as a result, they would be home working. So when a particularly talented agent said, I'm afraid I've got to move to Somerset or perhaps up to Scotland, they could say, that's absolutely fine. You can still keep working for us. We'll make you a full-time home agent. And again, that better work-life balance means that a lot of the time you don't have to pay your agents more. You can actually just make sure that you're giving them better ways of working and a better balance in order to offset remuneration. Agent engagement remains key though. Does the agent have the tools that they require to do their job? Do they have contextual information about the person calling them so they can minimise the average handle time, improve the rate of first contact resolution, personalise the interaction, and build a relationship which will engender loyalty from that customer? Now, this is where things like CRM integrations become particularly important, but also the quality of the routing engine, which is making those decisions. Flat structures, again, if you have 100 agents and 10 supervisors and 1 customer services manager, it can be pretty hard to move up. However, if you can make your product, your contact center usable, and you can upskill agents into some of the teams that we mentioned earlier, workforce planning, operations, compliance and training, you can actually retain those people within the business and help move them into different areas. One of the contact centres I used to work with quite closely was the Environment Agency in Sheffield. And even though it had quite a flat structure within the contact centre, they had a below 2% rate of attrition externally. So less than 2% of agents would actually move from the Environment Agency somewhere else. However, internally, it was about 10% because they used that as a stomping ground for selecting talented individuals to move into wider parts of the business. Mandatory cost cutting. And currently, this is going to be a real focus for a number of contact centres to react to the current market conditions. 75% of a contact centre's costs are its staff, whereas only 25% is the technology. As a result, if we can provide higher rates of automation, we can reduce the numbers of agents on shift. We can do less with more by using technology-fueled productivity gains. Number 6, poor rates of first contact resolution. Sometimes people will have will go into a call completely blind. They will not know who is calling them, what they're calling about, and it leaves them with a reduced chance of offering first contact resolution, which means that that customer will probably have to call in again. They might even escalate or change tack and go to a different channel. And that's generally bad for customer service because, again, that's not a good customer journey. That leads to an increased risk of churn and dissatisfaction. Number 7 is quite interesting. So the inability to improve performance levels. So within the UK, actually, customer service has flatlined around the kind of 75–80% satisfaction mark. And actually, particularly in my experience from judging, the 5 points from 80 to 85 is harder than getting up to 70. It's incredibly different to differentiate yourself in the market, but the way to do that is actually benchmarking not against just your closest competitors, but the best in the industry, the likes of Amazon, the likes of eBay, the likes of House of Fraser, perhaps, you know, making sure that you're actually taking how you're looking at customer service and saying, I'm benchmarking myself against the best of the best period. And the ability to improve performance levels comes down to 2 things: technology enablement across the customer journey and continuous improvement of agent behaviours. That's where quality assurance technologies come in. That's where speech analytics can be leveraged. And these are solutions that we can provide to you and your customers. Customer churn, huge issue. If an agent does the job badly or the system means that the agent is at a disadvantage, you'll get higher rates of churn within your service base. No one wants that. It's much better to retain a customer than it is to it's a lot cheaper to retain a customer than it is to attract new ones. So having that focus that a contact center is about brand loyalty, customer loyalty, and customer retention is key. Number 9, particularly falls into number 6 as well. It's quite good because they both go into 3, is the ability to have integration between systems. And this is becoming more and more important. So even though there has been not that huge a move to cloud technologies compared to the size of the market in general, we've seen a distinct rise in CRM and ticketing systems for customer service. Solutions such as Salesforce, Zendesk, Topdesk, Freshdesk, a lot of them like to have desk in there for some reason. But the ability to integrate not only at the application level, but at the desktop level can be incredibly important. And I'm working on a number of opportunities now where desktop level integration from our VCC, from Wavenet VCC, has been incredibly useful and is a differentiator to our competitors. And finally, number 10, proliferation of communication technologies. The age of the 9 till 5 voice-based contact center is pretty much dead. Any way that you can communicate from your smartphone is a genuine and legitimate channel a business needs to make a call on whether to engage with. I think key in this has actually been social media and the adoption of that over time, because people were seeing an impact on marketing, which meant that they had to provide these channels on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Twitter, but they needed to do it in a way which minimized any risk of brand damage. So hopefully now you understand a little bit more about what a contact center is, who works there and how we can help them, what their problems are, the overarching business outcome that we want, loyalty, and this can help you frame your conversations. So now I'd like to move on to talk a little bit about Wavenet's portfolio. Apologies. So with Wavenet, our contact center solutions have 2 primary outcomes. We want to improve agent engagement to make sure that agents feel happier doing their jobs, they feel more empowered to do their jobs, and they most importantly have the tools they need to deliver great customer service. The second is to streamline business processes. How can we automate something? How can we ensure that we are linking systems together in a holistic way? Because when we do both of these things, we deliver an enhanced customer experience for your customers. Every contact center, regardless of whether it's a Wavenet solution or not, will have 5 standard universal modules. Understanding which of these are most important to your customer is a key factor in deciding which solution Wavenet will support you to bid. But these, at a high level, they break down into what we call access management. This is an extension of traditional carrier management. So you traditionally have an interface where you could see all of your numbers and the services associated with them. Equally, it might be the services listed and the numbers against them. All we're doing is extending this out to be omni-channel, so omni-channel aggregation rather than just numbers. So this might be email addresses in that interface as well, SMS shortcodes, website URLs, Twitter @addresses, Facebook pages, WhatsApp business numbers, Viber and Trustpilot accounts. Doesn't really matter, it's just extending that traditional concept of carrier management into an omni-channel platform. And this will also give us a higher visibility of where they are routing. Now, depending on the kind of contact center, in the first instance, a lot of people are going to put them towards an IVR and self-service script. The purpose of IVR and self-service is primarily to automate the contact. If you can automate the contact and reduce calls coming into the contact center, you can thereby reduce the number of agents on shift, lowering costs. However, if we can't automate something, then we want to screen it. We want to use information, perhaps from a back-end system like Salesforce or Dynamics, or from the customer, such as the number or particular things they've said in the body and header of an email or in their text, to be able to screen it through to the best queue within the ACD. A lot of people are talking about artificial intelligence at the moment. Generally, and if you want my advice, the way to make yourself the smartest people in the room when talking about artificial intelligence capabilities is to just explain that a chatbot, a natural language processing engine, are all extensions of traditional IVR and self-service technology, because the outcome remains the same, automating customer contact. We then have ACD. automatic contact distribution, often with skills-based routing. That's the queuing engine. It's the heart of the contact center. And what this will allow you to do is put that contact through to the best placed agent within a business to support them. Now, these will often include common features such as callback, in-queue messaging, maybe a breakout self-service or voicemail. But essentially, that is the key point, to make sure that we're putting a person or contact through to the best placed agent within your business to help them, preferably within our SLA we mentioned earlier. We then have management information. That's for data-led decision making. Customer service is an industry built on data. We need to be able to report about how agents are spending the time, but also the outcomes we provided to customers. Finally, we have recording and quality assurance or quality analysis tools. What this will allow us to do is benchmark our agent performance, provide personalized feedback, and make sure our agents are always continuously improving their approach to keep us at a truly brand-defining customer experience. Within the Wavenet Contact Center portfolio, we offer 3 enterprise cloud products. So, traditional contact centers traditionally have gone with something like Mitel. And what's really exciting is that our Mitel, Mitel is a great partner of ours. We've got a lot of heritage in it, but it's moved recently to GCP infrastructure. So traditionally there was a sense that Mitel wasn't proper cloud, but you can't get more cloud than Google. And now you can actually virtualize services on there, so it becomes mainly a provisioning exercise. This means, particularly for things like service desks or control room telephony, where you don't actually want that IVR, you want to get straight through to someone, this makes them very popular. Equally, for customers still using VDU environments, if they are working in the office or they're using dumb terminal consoles, it means that actually you can attach a handset to it and you can run it essentially pretty quickly to set up in a fairly continuous way from what they had before. So that's more of an evolutionary path. But really, the 2 enterprise products for cloud are Five9 with its VCC platform. That's what we call CRM integrated omnichannel, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then we have Wavenet Storm. And what we refer to that as is unified desktop omnichannel. And the key difference between these are the agent experiences in each. So I'm just going to pop up my dashboard now. I'm currently going to show you and take you through essentially how a CRM integrated contact center will look. I've logged into my Freshdesk dashboard. That's the system that we use internally. I'm going to review a ticket, but I'm also going to press this button here. And what this is doing is loading up my Five9 VCC adapter. Now, what this means is that I can dock my station next to my CRM system. It means the CRM system remains the key focus on the agent desktop, but I have all the abilities to do call control, to deliver calls through this. And this is incredibly popular, particularly for what we call data-driven businesses, where they want the agent's primary interface to be the CRM. We can still provide that enterprise-grade contact center as a service technology via the installed client. And this will work with literally anything. And I really mean anything. It's been made to be incredibly flexible. As long as there is a web API exposed that we can latch onto, it doesn't matter, with special setups for things like Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics to add real value. And what this will allow me to do is to receive the call here, but to have the contextual information about who's called me, why they called me, so I can provide that personalized interaction that we talked about. We can minimize the average handle time by providing identification and verification, but also we can provide a higher quality of interaction. Now, the flip side of this is what we call agent desktop based. And that's actually where I'm working within the vendor's agent desktop. So again, I'm going to use Five9 to just illustrate it quickly. I'm going to log into the soft phone. That's where the whole desktop real estate is provided by the vendor. So Five9 is particularly great because it can do both. And then I can take things like emails, I can take things through chat here, and I can also do things like receive calls and take voicemails and check my corporate directory. And at a high level, that's the 2 approaches that you have to achieving what, for all intents and purposes, for the agent is an omnichannel experience. Now, on the first one I showed you, there's a consideration about where you store channels. So a lot of the time, Five9 VCC will maybe just be doing voice, and then Salesforce will do chat and email natively, but there are options around both. And it's understanding which vision will work best for your customers, which is often one of the most important factors for Wavenet. And actually, when I talk to customers, if you trust me enough to bring me in to talk to you and your prospects, the first thing I'm going to do after we've all done introductions is actually talk to them. I always ask people, what is your vision for customer service? Because it's more important than price and product, but how do you plan to stand out? How are your agents currently working, and how do you want them to work in future? That will help answer that question about what the agent desktop looks like, help me understand what systems are being used there. What channels do they have and what channels do they need? So a lot of people are working out how they move from voice to bringing in channels like email, chat or social media. Are agents multi-skilled or specialized? So in terms of when we're considering ACD routing, what does that look like? How complex do we need to make it? What is the role of self-service? So, you know, what automation capability is there and what do you want there to be there in the future? How you coach better agent behaviors. So currently how you review the success of an agent and how you can help that personalized development we talked about that aids things like retention, that aids things like better work-life balance. What information do we make for data-led decision making? So what reporting do we need? And then the high level question, generally for the customer service director, what moves you from customer service to customer experience? Now, generally there are two different approaches that we're seeing in the UK market, and it primarily comes down to how businesses have developed their current estate. Traditionally, coming off the back of CP-based systems such as Avaya or Cisco or Aspect, the contact center has been at the heart of their digital ecosystem within the customer services estate. The contact handling interface, the agent desktop, as I mentioned earlier, is the agent center point, but it's also the center point of that digital ecosystem. That's where the agent is working, that's where we need to display information, that's where we need to provide multiple channels. Now off this, it will send information to things like a backend database or CRM system, such as the wrap code, a transcript of the conversation if it was digital, time and date stamp, what queue it went through. It will push information into things like the analytics and AI engine, so making sure that we can review things like speech analytics that we can provide, making sure we're pushing that data into that so that can be interpreted. Workforce management, pushing data about queue performance, agent occupancy and call volumes to be able to forecast the need for agents within the contact center. And then also back office transfers. Can we push people from a contact center through to a back office expert, perhaps in credit control or billing? In terms of our CCI-led contact center solutions, what you're seeing now is a screenshot of the Mitel Ignite Agent desktop. It's very powerful. It's one of the leaders in terms of providing voice, email, chat natively within a solution. And what you can still see here is that you can get information from a CRM. It just renders in the vendor's agent desktop rather than the CRM system itself. And again, with the benefit of GCP, this can now be consumed more flexibly, but will still require an installed client on a laptop. On the flip side, or rather in a continuation of that, we have Wavenet Storm, which we've been working with a number of enterprise clients on. So this is purely browser based. Calls are delivered through WebRTC. Everything is done within the browser. I can access it from anywhere, from any device with a headset and an internet connection on a compatible browser. And again, what you're seeing here is a text-based interaction. Again, it's got a native SMS aggregator. So if SMS is a big opportunity, that can be really simple for us to do. And then what it's doing, it's drawing in information in a consistent manner regardless of what system it's taking it from. Now, the flip side of that is CRM-led contact center solutions. That's where the CRM is on the agent desktop, and that's the heart of their business. That's the data repository, but also with some contact handling now on digital channels. They need a contact center solution which is going to integrate really tightly with that. And that's what I showed you with the Freshdesk integration into VCC just earlier. So understanding what that looks like is really important. And again, I mentioned there can be specialized adapters. This is VCC's adapter into Salesforce. So you can see that I'm free to work in Salesforce primarily. I can minimize or expand that and it'll just pop up when I've got a call, but it allows me to get a quick snapshot overview of what is happening in the contact center. If I'm ready to receive calls, it can also sync presence, by the way, and also listen to new calls, voicemail, etc. So it gives me that unified interface, even though it's two separate solutions. And again, here in Dynamics, which is very popular at the minute, and Wavenet have been working on a large number of VCC integrated into MS Dynamics bids, the same principle. You've got all your call control in the pad here, but the agent is primarily working in the CRM system. So that is what you need to consider when you are talking to your prospects. You want to understand how their agents work. What is the role of those 6 core contact center technologies? What's the role of self-service for the IVR? What's the role of management information for data-led decision making? How in-depth do you need your ACD queuing? Do you need things like outbound dialers? Do you need things like blending? Now, contact center infrastructure is supported by 4 key supporting industries. Customer relationship management. As we've mentioned, that's incredibly important. So understanding how that fits in, how they want it to fit in, is absolutely paramount. I will help you to be able to underwrite any solutions when we need to undertake that through our partners. We then have workforce management. So Wavenet can offer 2 solutions. One is Virtual Observer, fully integrated into the VCC product stack for Five9, or we can offer Calabrio, which works very well with the Wavenet Storm offering and the Wavenet MICC offering. However, it is solution agnostic. We can put it in anywhere. So if you get a tender for workforce management and you've got a good relationship with that customer, bring it to us. We'll be more than happy to help you. Analytics and AI systems. So in terms of big data, a lot of the time we're pushing this into GCP or IBM. It doesn't really kind of matter. We can support you to take that data and push it into your customer's analytics system, and even provide a degree of it ourselves through our vendor partners. Finally, back office systems. Again, Wavenet are a engineering company with over 70 trained engineers. Making sure that the front office solution talks to a back office solution can be a real value add and differentiate your bid, particularly on when a bid might be multi-lotted. So it's not just for connectivity, it's contact center and UC. This is where our unique relationship with our Teams Link product is particularly strong. So with regards to VCC, that has a Microsoft certified connector into Microsoft Teams. Wavenet will be the only vendor, or rather the only supplier within the UK market who can provide the full extent of that integration between Teams Link and VCC, because we will have on-net calls via our own infrastructure between VCC and Teams Link, but we'll also be able to pass that presence information from Microsoft Teams through to the contact center, so agents can see that someone's available. Equally, for some of our other technology stacks, we have APIs, we have software development kits available we can use to scope out and build custom integrations. So in summary, why sell more SaaS? It's high profit and high margin. This can help your business step up to the next level and develop new services which will maximize the value of your business. Need in the market. COVID-19 means CPE-based solutions are at a disadvantage to those born in the cloud. Wavenet will help you ensure your customers ditch the tin and move to a true cloud solution to future-proof them from COVID-19 spikes and work from anywhere. Contact center is simple. Contact center is traditionally stigmatized as a hard solution. Wavenet will help you understand this field better and simplify it into consumable technology blocks, understand stakeholder needs, and create compelling sales cases. Wavenet will support and empower you to feel confident prospecting, qualifying, and selling more cloud contact center as a service solutions. Wavenet's approach in the market is unique to ensure that we have a solution for every time of contact center, maximizing your potential to win, whether a traditional service desk through to a data-driven customer engagement hub. And so thank you very much for your time, everyone. I sincerely hope that you will reach out to your account managers, your channel managers, with any contact center queries that you may have. And I'd like to open it up to questions now. So again, if you've got a question, you can just push it through on the live event Q&A. While we're doing that, John, do you have any kind of rounding up summary comments? Anything that you particularly liked there? Anything that you think we missed?
I think it was a really good overview in sort of explaining the marketplace, and I think also, I'm not sure if it was covered off or not. I may have missed it, but this is because it's contact center as a service. It's a pure cloud product. This just doesn't open it up for your customers that are in the UK market. So this is truly a unified experience wherever the agents are in the world. Both of the platforms that we talked about today, all three obviously, but the two cloud ones, the Storm and the Five9 are leaders in the field when it comes to the Magic Quadrant, top right hand side, and we can provide sort of information and slide decks and bits and pieces all around that sort of qualifying piece, and when you're talking to customers about these opportunities. And I think Johnathan's expertise, hopefully you sort of understood. He's got a wealth of experience in this field, so he's very good in front of your customers and finding out what is the right solution for your customer and making sure you're pitching the right solution for your customers, which I think is very important. If you just have a stock contact center offering for your customers, it may not fit their requirement and their future requirement. So yeah, the questions, obviously you may have questions after the event. There is sort of a follow-up I'd like to do with you all, which is just really, if you've got an opportunity or if you've got a customer or prospect that you think may be interested in this, it's just a list of qualifying questions that we can run through to open that initial discussions up, and then we can come in with Johnathan and discover that opportunity and uncover that opportunity in a bit more deeper sessions. So thanks, Johnathan, for your time. Suzanne, that was a really good overview, I think, and good introduction to this.
We've just had a question through, so I'd just like to confirm that. So for all of the solutions, there will be an element of professional services cost, but you're not buying kit anymore. What you're buying is professional services time to configure a solution on a live cloud platform. Following that on, there will be license subscription models. So you will generally have concurrent agent, and then you'll have concurrent channels on top. So you might have 100 agents, but only 50 of them need email, and only 10 of them need web chat. And generally, some will have those transactional costs for the call rates, but also things maybe like PCI DSS compliant payments or recording over a certain amount of time. So you'll have CapEx, smaller CapEx costs, but still some setup costs. You'll have a primarily OpEx model, and then you'll have some transactional costs. Hope that answered your question, Isaac. And if there are any more questions, please send them through now. And if not, we'll look to wrap up. Ooh. Is there a minimum number of seats with this type of solution? What would you say is entry? That's a very good question, actually. So within our free portfolio, our three-pronged portfolio, we can scale down to as little as 10 seats. What I would generally say, though, for VCC and Wavenet Storm, we should probably start around 25 to 30 as a good starting point. I think that's kind of smaller entry level, 25 to 30. But you know, if we were working on a bid this week, which is only 20 agents, but due to the nature of their business, they need speech analytics. It's very, very high sensitivity contact center. So 20 agents is with speech analytics, with all the QA and all the channels. Actually, it costed them particularly well for them. So there's not really any entry level. You know, the idea is with cloud, it scales right down. But I would say generally 25, 30 is a good place to start if they have a need for some kind of enterprise grade functionality. And did that answer your the anonymous question? If we've got any more for any more? Okay, well, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. I very much look forward to hearing from you in future through our channel team. and I hope you all stay safe and have a good day. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I think it just about rounds everything up. So thanks for joining, and please get in touch with any opportunities.
Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. Goodbye.